Welcome, my friend. You've found your way to a quiet place tonight. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to fix, nowhere you need to go. Just let the day slowly fade behind you. You can listen, or simply let the sound rest in the background. Either way is perfectly fine. When you're ready, we'll begin a gentle story meant for calm, for comfort, and for overthinking minds ready to rest. Take a slow, gentle breath in, and as you breathe out, allow the day to loosen its grip on you. You don't need to solve anything tonight. You don't need to replay conversations, plan tomorrow, or carry the weight of what has already passed. For now, you are allowed to rest. Imagine the world growing quieter around you, not suddenly, but gradually, the way snow softens sound, the way night wraps everything in calm. The edges of your thoughts begin to blur, becoming less sharp, less demanding. Somewhere far from noise and hurry, beyond busy roads and glowing screens, there exists a small cabin built from aged timber and stone. It rests in a clearing surrounded by tall, patient trees. This cabin is warm not just by firewood, but by something gentler, by sparks that glow softly and echoes that remember kindness. As you approach, the ground beneath your feet feels steady and safe. Pine needles cushion each step. The air carries a quiet warmth mixed with the scent of wood smoke and old cedar. Above you, the sky is deep and calm, scattered with faint stars that seem to blink slowly, as if already drifting towards sleep. The cabin does not shout for attention, it whispers. Its windows glow faintly, amber light breathing in and out like a resting heart. Inside, firewood crackles in a slow, reassuring rhythm. Each spark rises gently, then fades, leaving behind a peaceful silence, not empty, but full. This is a place where echoes don't repeat worries, they repeat comfort. Here, time moves differently. Minutes stretch softly, thoughts slow down. The cabin listens without judgment, without expectation. It holds warmth the way a memory holds peace, quietly, without needing to explain itself. As you step closer, you notice how your shoulders begin to relax. Your jaw unclenches, your breathing finds a natural rhythm, steady and unforced. The world outside feels distant now, like a dream already fading. Inside this story, nothing will rush you, nothing will disturb you, nothing will ask more than you can give. This is a place meant for overthinking minds, not to silence them, but to let them rest. And as the cabin door creaks open with a soft, friendly sound, you are welcomed not as a visitor, but as someone who belongs. Let yourself enter. Let the fire glow. Let the echoes soften. Let sleep begin its gentle approach. The cabin rests where the forest opens, just enough to let moonlight settle gently on the snow. Not wide, not dramatic, only a quiet clearing, as if the trees themselves decided to lean back slightly and make space for something precious. The night here is deep and still. Not the kind of stillness that feels empty, but the kind that feels full, complete, and patient. Snow rests on every branch, every stone, every wooden beam, muffling the world until even your thoughts seem to walk more softly. As you stand at the edge of the clearing, the cabin appears slowly, the way calm appears when you finally stop resisting it. Its walls are built from old firewood logs, stacked with care, their surfaces darkened by years of warmth and weather. Stone supports anchor it firmly to the earth, as if the cabin has grown here rather than been built. A narrow chimney releases a thin ribbon of smoke that rises without urgency, dissolving quietly into the night air. The glow from the windows is gentle, never bright, never demanding. It pulses faintly, like embers breathing, sending reassurance outward into the trees. With each step forward, the ground crunches softly beneath your boots. The sound is muted, respectful. Even your movement seems to understand. This is a place where nothing should be rushed. The door is wooden, smooth from countless gentle touches. A simple iron handle rests cool beneath your fingers. When you open it, there is no sharp creak, only a low, familiar sound, like the cabin recognizing you. Warmth wraps around you instantly. Not a sudden heat, but a gradual welcome. The kind that moves inward slowly, loosening muscles you didn't realize were tight. The air inside carries the scent of burning pine cedar and something faintly sweet, perhaps dried herbs hanging near the hearth. At the center of the room, a fire burns low and steady. Firewood rests carefully within the stone hearth, each log glowing softly along its edges. Tiny sparks rise now and then, floating upward before disappearing, leaving behind a hush that feels intentional. The fire does not roar, it whispers. Each crackle is slow, each pop is gentle. Together, they form a rhythm, one that doesn't demand attention, but rewards it. You notice the echoes, not loud echoes, but subtle ones. The way sound moves through the cabin and settles instead of bouncing back. When the fire shifts, its sound seems to repeat softly, as if the room itself is listening and responding in its own calm language. Wooden beams stretch across the ceiling, dark and solid. They have held many winters, many nights like this. Shelves line the walls, filled with simple objects, folded blankets, smooth stones, carved wooden figures worn by time. Nothing here feels unused. Nothing feels unnecessary. A long wooden table rests near the fire, its surface marked by gentle scratches and warmth stains, evidence of quiet evenings, slow meals, hands resting without hurry. Two chairs sit nearby, angled toward the hearth, as if waiting for someone who always returns. You remove your coat slowly, without rush, and place it on a hook near the door. The cabin seems to exhale when you do. There is a bench by the fire, layered with thick wool blankets. As you sit, the warmth reaches you gradually, first your hands, then your arms, then the space behind your chest where stress often hides. The firewood shifts again. A spark rises, and with it comes a feeling, not a memory exactly, but something close. A sense that this place has heard worries before, that it has held them gently, without asking questions, without trying to fix them. The echoes here do not repeat noise, they repeat calm. Outside, the wind moves lightly through the trees, brushing snow from branches in soft cascades. The sound is distant, softened by walls and warmth. Inside, the cabin remains steady, unmoved. You notice how your breathing begins to match the fire. In, out. Each breath feels easier than the last. The cabin seems to respond, the fire settling slightly lower, the sparks slowing, the echoes growing quieter. It is as if this place adjusts itself to you, learning your rhythm, meeting you where you are. On the hearth, beside the firewood, rests a small iron kettle. Steam escapes slowly from its spout, carrying warmth and comfort into the air. When it hums, the sound blends seamlessly with the crackle of embers, becoming part of the cabin's language. You pour yourself a cup, something warm, herbal, grounding. The mug fits perfectly in your hands, as if it was made for evenings like this. As you sip, the warmth travels inward, spreading gently through your chest, your shoulders, your thoughts. Words become slower. Ideas soften around the edges. This is not a place for thinking forward or backward. This is a place for being. The firewood whispers again, not in words, but in feeling. A reassurance that nothing is required of you here, that you don't need to hold yourself together. The cabin will do that for you. Sparks rise once more. They glow briefly, tiny stars born from wood and flame, then fade, leaving behind silence that feels safe. You notice that the echoes don't linger too long. They appear, soften, and disappear, teaching something without instruction. That thoughts, too, can arrive and leave without clinging. Outside, snow continues to fall. Inside, time slows. The cabin remains awake, quietly watching, quietly warming. As you sink deeper into stillness, the firewood settles into itself. The echoes grow fewer, gentler. And somewhere between the glow of embers and the quiet of the walls, the cabin begins to share its true gift. not stories of the past, not promises of the future, but the simple, healing permission to rest. The fire does not change suddenly. It never does. Instead, it adjusts the way a trusted companion might, slowly, intuitively, without announcement. The flames lower themselves just enough to glow more than they dance, and the sparks rise less often now, drifting upward with a softer glow before resting back into silence. Time inside the cabin begins to behave differently. Minutes stretch gently, like warm wool pulled carefully between patient hands. There is no urgency here, no expectation that time must be filled. The hours seem content simply to exist. You remain seated near the hearth, wrapped loosely in the thick blankets. Their weight is comforting, grounding you into the bench, into the floor, into the stone foundation beneath the cabin. Each layer seems to say, "You are held." The kettle has gone quiet. Steam no longer escapes, yet warmth remains lingering steady. You take another slow sip and notice how your thoughts no longer race ahead of the moment. They walk now, slowly, carefully, as if they too have learned the rules of this place. The cabin speaks in subtle ways, not through sound alone, but through sensation. The faint hum of heat rising through stone, the gentle creak of wood adjusting to the cold outside, the soft shift of logs settling into embers. Each sound carries a rhythm, not repetitive, not distracting, but grounding. Like a lullaby without melody, your breathing deepens again, in, out. You are no longer guiding it, it guides itself. The echoes respond. When the fire crackles, the sound rolls softly along the walls before dissolving. When the wind brushes against the cabin, it is answered by a quiet settling of beams, a reminder that the structure is strong, unmoved. This place has weathered many nights like this. On one wall, you notice a narrow shelf lined with small wooden objects. Simple carvings, animals, tools, shapes softened by time. Their edges are smooth, polished by hands that worked slowly. Intentionally, you pick one up. It is warm, not hot, just gently warmed by the air and the fire's presence. The wood fits naturally in your palm, grounding you further into the moment. You trace its surface absent-mindedly and notice how your mind stays quiet while your hands move. The cabin encourages this kind of attention, not focus, presence. Near the hearth, stacked neatly, is the firewood itself. Each log has been chosen carefully, dried just enough, cut with precision, arranged in a way that honors balance. These logs are not rushed fuel. They are patient contributors. When one settles, releasing a faint whisper of sound, it feels intentional, as if the firewood speaks only when there is something worth saying. The sparks rise again. This time, you notice something different. Each spark seems to pause for just a moment before fading, not stopping, just lingering long enough to be noticed, like a thought that appears, offers its warmth, and then lets itself go. You realize how rare it is to experience a place that does not pull you forward or backward. Here, the present moment feels wide. You stretch your legs slightly, letting the warmth reach your calves, your knees, your feet. The cold of the night has completely released its hold on you now. Even memories of cold feel distant, soften. The fire shifts again, and the echoes answer. There is a pattern to it, subtle, almost musical. Crackle pause, glow rest. A cycle that never demands attention, yet remains endlessly comforting. You lean back, resting your head against the wall. The wood is solid, reliable. It carries a faint vibration from the fire's warmth, like a quiet pulse. Your thoughts drift, not into worry, not into planning, but into something softer. Reflections, perhaps. You think of how many moments in life are lived between tasks, between responsibilities, moments that often go unnoticed. This cabin feels like it exists entirely in that in-between space, a place made not for doing, but for unwinding. The firewood releases another whisper. It sounds like a breath. You notice how your own breath responds, slowing just slightly more. Your shoulders drop, your jaw softens. Muscles that have held tension without your permission finally let go. Outside, the forest listens. Snow continues to fall, each flake settling quietly onto branches, roof, stones. The world beyond the cabin feels hushed, respectful, as if nature itself is aware that rest is happening here. Inside, the light remains warm and low. No harsh shadows, no bright edges. Just soft illumination that blurs the boundaries of objects, making everything feel gentler, less defined. Like the difference between being awake and drifting. You close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, just to feel. Behind your eyelids, the glow of the fire paints slow patterns. Flickers of orange and gold move lazily, never sharp, never startling. Even darkness feels friendly here. When you open your eyes again, nothing has changed, and that feels reassuring. Consistency becomes comfort. The cabin does not surprise you, it supports you. You notice the echoes again, softer now, less frequent. The fire has found a steady balance. The room has settled, and so have you. A thought floats up, not heavy, not demanding. You don't have to hold everything. It drifts away before you can respond. The firewood whispers once more, and this time the sound feels like agreement. Hours pass, or perhaps only minutes. It doesn't matter. Time has loosened its grip, allowing you to experience it without pressure. You pull the blanket slightly closer. The warmth deepens, and as the cabin continues its quiet conversation of sparks and echoes, you feel yourself moving gently toward a deeper calm, one that does not require effort, only permission. The cabin has a memory, not the kind written down or spoken aloud, but the kind held gently in wood and stone, absorbed through countless quiet evenings like this one. Every beam, every plank, every smoothened edge has listened before. It has learned the shape of rest. You sense this without thinking. It is felt in the way the floor no longer feels cold beneath your feet, in the way the walls seem closer, more protective. Without ever crowding you, the cabin does not watch. It does not judge. It simply remembers how to hold stillness. The fire burns lower now, not weaker, calmer. The flames curl inward, hugging the embers, releasing warmth in slow, steady waves. The sparks are fewer, but when they rise, they glow longer, as if reluctant to leave the comfort of the hearth. You notice that your body has found its own rhythm, breathing deep and even, heart steady, mind unhurried. There is no effort in maintaining this state. It has arrived naturally, the way dusk arrives, without asking permission. On a small table near the window sits a lantern, unlit. Its glass is clouded slightly with age, the metal frame softened by years of use. You imagine it has been carried out into snowy nights before, its light guiding careful steps, its glow reflected in drifting flakes. The cabin remembers those moments too. It remembers hands warming by the fire after long walks. It remembers boots drying by the door. It remembers silence shared without discomfort. You feel a sense of belonging here, even if this is your first visit. Some places don't require history. They recognize you instantly. The firewood stacked beside the hearth seems almost deliberate in its stillness. Each log rests patiently, waiting its turn, knowing it will offer warmth when needed. There is no competition among them, no rush. This quiet cooperation feels comforting. It reminds you softly that not everything needs to be done at once. That waiting can be peaceful. That usefulness does not diminish with stillness. Your thoughts drift inward now, not sharply, but like a slow tide. You reflect on the way your mind usually moves, jumping ahead, replaying moments, tightening around worries that don't belong to this hour. Here, those habits feel distant, out of place. The cabin does not encourage thinking. It encourages being. You notice the sound of the fire again, not crackling now, but breathing. A soft exhale of warmth, a gentle settling of embers. The echoes respond faintly, like a conversation that no longer needs words. You shift slightly, finding a position that feels even more comfortable than before. The blanket adjusts with you, its weight distributing evenly, offering reassurance through pressure and warmth. Outside the window, the forest is barely visible. Snow continues to fall, thick and steady. Branches bend slightly under its weight, yet never break. The scene feels timeless, as if this snowfall has happened before and will happen again without urgency. You imagine the cabin during other winters, other nights like this one. Different guests, different stories, yet the same quiet outcome, rest. The cabin does not cling to any one moment. It simply provides space for them all. A gentle wave of drowsiness begins to form. Not sleep yet, but something close. A soft blur at the edges of awareness. Thoughts arrive slower now and leave even more gently. You allow them to pass. No analyzing, no holding, just noticing and letting go. The fire responds to this shift, glowing slightly brighter for a moment, as if acknowledging your surrender to calm. The warmth reaches deeper now, not just skin, but muscles, joints, places that often remain tense without being asked. Your hands rest loosely at your sides. Your fingers feel heavy, relaxed. Even your face feels different, softer, unguarded. The muscles around your eyes release, allowing them to close halfway without effort. The cabin hums faintly. Not a sound exactly, more like a presence, a sense of stability, of shelter, of patience. You realize something quietly important. Nothing is required of you here. No decisions, no explanations, no next steps, just rest. The firewood whispers again, a soft shift, a gentle settling. The sound carries warmth rather than noise. It feels like a reminder passed down through the walls. You are safe enough to rest now. The thought does not linger. It sinks. And as the cabin continues to hold the night in its steady, familiar way, you feel yourself drifting further into ease, ready for the next gentle unfolding of this quiet place. The fire has changed again. Not suddenly, not noticeably at first. It is the kind of change that only happens when you are no longer watching closely, when attention loosens and observation becomes feeling. The flames are lower now, their movements slower, more deliberate, as if they have decided there is nowhere else they need to be. The embers glow wide and steady, a deep orange warmth spreading beneath the surface. Each one pulses softly, like a resting heartbeat. The sparks still rise from time to time, but they do so lazily, drifting upward before dissolving into the quiet air. The cabin seems to lean into this calmer rhythm. The walls absorb the warmth, holding it gently. The wooden beams no longer creak at all. Even the wind outside has softened, brushing past the cabin rather than pressing against it. You feel the difference in your body. There is a heaviness now, not uncomfortable, but deeply grounding. A pleasant weight that settles you into the chair, into the blanket, into the moment. Your shoulders sink lower. Your jaw loosens. The space behind your eyes feels open and unstrained. This is the moment when effort disappears. You are no longer trying to relax. Relaxation has found you. The firewood stacked beside the hearth catches your attention again. In the softened glow, the logs look smoother, rounder, almost kind. They rest against one another in quiet agreement, sharing warmth, sharing time. You sense, without thinking, that the firewood has always understood something important. That burning is not destruction. That giving warmth does not mean losing oneself. That even after the flame fades, something useful remains. Ash becomes soil. Heat becomes memory. Light becomes rest. The realization settles gently inside you. You don't follow it with thoughts. You simply let it exist, like a warm stone placed carefully in the center of your chest. The cabin breathes with you now. In, out. The rhythm is slow and forgiving. There is no expectation to match it perfectly. Even uneven breaths are welcome here. Outside, snow continues its quiet descent. It piles softly along the windowsill, muting the world beyond the glass. The forest has grown indistinct, reduced to shapes and shadows. Distance no longer matters. Everything you need is already inside this room. The lantern on the table reflects a faint shimmer of firelight, though it remains unlit. Its presence feels symbolic, a reminder that light does not always need to be active to be reassuring. Sometimes it is enough to know it is there. You notice small details now, the grain of the wood beneath your fingertips, the subtle scent of smoke woven into the air, the way the blanket rises and falls with your breath. These details do not demand attention, they offer it. Your mind, once quick and restless, has slowed to match the room. Thoughts appear like distant clouds, soft-edged, unhurried, easy to release. You think briefly of things that once felt heavy, deadlines, conversations, expectations. They pass through you without sticking. The fire seems to acknowledge this release, glowing just slightly brighter, as if pleased. A log shifts gently, settling deeper into the embers, releasing a low, comforting sound, not a crack but a sigh. The echoes respond quietly, repeating the sound in softened tones. It feels like the cabin is teaching you something, not through words, but through presence. It teaches that rest is not earned. It is allowed. It teaches that silence is not empty. It is full of support. It teaches that letting go does not mean losing control. It means trusting what holds you. Your eyelids feel heavier now. Not heavy in a way that demands sleep, but heavy in a way that invites it. You let them close for a moment, just to see how it feels. The darkness behind your eyes is warm, not stark. The fire still exists there, glowing softly, even without sight. You open your eyes again briefly, reassured. The cabin is unchanged. The fire is steady. Everything remains exactly as it should. You feel safe enough to close them again, longer this time. With your eyes closed, your awareness shifts inward. You notice the subtle sensations, warmth spreading through your limbs, the gentle pressure of the blanket, the quiet space between breaths. Your thoughts have thinned to whispers. Fragments of memory drift by, not vivid, not emotional, just small, harmless images. A quiet road, a lamp glowing in a window, snow falling under streetlight. They dissolve before forming stories. The fire continues its patient work. It does not rush to burn. It does not resist fading. It simply exists, moment by moment, offering warmth as long as it can. You realize, softly, that you are allowed to be the same. You do not need to hold everything together tonight. You do not need to solve anything before resting. You do not need to be alert to be valuable. The cabin already accepts you as you are. A deeper calm settles now, the kind that feels like sinking into warm water. Muscles loosen further. Breathing becomes quieter. Time stretches gently, losing its edges. The firewood whispers again, not audibly, but felt. A sense of reassurance passes through you, wordless and kind. You are doing enough by being here. The snow outside thickens, blanketing the world in stillness. Sound is absorbed, motion slows. Even the night feels hushed, as if honoring this moment of rest. The fire is now mostly embers. The flames flicker low, bowing to the warmth beneath them. The room glows softly, amber and calm. Shadows barely move. You feel sleep drawing closer, not as a demand, but as an invitation. There is no pressure to accept it yet. You rest in the space between wakefulness and dreaming, where thoughts soften and awareness floats gently. The cabin remains, the fire remains, and you remain held, supported, unburdened. This is the heart of the night, and nothing more is required. The fire is almost finished now, not gone, just transformed. What once rose and danced has settled into a wide, glowing bed of embers, each one holding a soft, steady warmth. The light they give is lower, closer to the ground, spreading gently across the cabin floor like a comforting blanket of amber. There is no need for more wood. The fire has already given everything it needed to give. The cabin understands this. It does not ask for more heat. The walls remain warm, the air balanced and calm. Even the stone hearth seems to hold onto the memory of flame, radiating a quiet comfort that does not fade quickly. You feel this warmth everywhere now. It wraps around your legs, your torso, your shoulders. It rests behind your neck and along your spine. It moves slowly, deliberately, as if it knows exactly where to go. Your breathing has become almost silent. Each breath slips in and out without effort, without pause. There is no counting, no guiding, only a natural rhythm that feels older than thought. In, out, the cabin rests with you. Outside, the snowfall has softened further, if that is even possible. The flakes drift down in near stillness, stacking gently upon one another, creating layers of quiet. The world beyond the windows has faded into a pale blur. No edges, no urgency, no direction, just rest. You notice that the echoes have changed too. Earlier, they repeated the fire's movements, the subtle sounds of settling wood. Now they are slower, deeper, more distant. They no longer repeat individual sounds. Instead, they reflect the feeling of the room itself, a soft hum of safety, a low, continuous reassurance. It feels like being held in a quiet breath. Your body has grown heavy, not weighed down, but supported. The chair cradles you without pressure. The blanket feels perfectly placed, neither too warm nor too cool. Your hands are relaxed. Your fingers rest without tension, curved gently, as if they have finally remembered how to let go. Your jaw hangs loose. Your tongue rests naturally. Your forehead is smooth. Even the tiny muscles around your eyes have released. There is nothing left to scan for, nothing left to prepare. The firewood stacked beside the hearth remains still, its work complete. The logs wait patiently for another night, another story. They do not rush. They do not worry about when they will be needed again. They trust time. That trust settles into you. You feel it spreading through your chest, loosening the invisible knots you did not realize you were holding. Concerns that once felt important have softened into something distant and harmless. They can wait. Everything can wait. The embers pulse faintly, a slow, steady glow like a heart at rest. Their light flickers across the ceiling beams, barely moving, creating a pattern so gentle it almost disappears. Your eyes grow heavier now. When you close them, you do not fall into darkness. Instead, you drift into a warm inner glow, a space lit by memory, comfort, and calm. You may notice images forming, not vivid dreams, just soft impressions. A snow-covered path, a lamp glowing behind frosted glass, a quiet room where nothing is expected of you. These images pass easily, like clouds drifting across a still sky. You do not follow them. You let them go. The cabin seems farther away now, not gone, just gently receding. Its warmth remains, but its edges blur. You no longer need to stay aware of the walls, the fire, the snow. They continue without your attention. You have permission to rest fully. The last faint crackle from the embers sounds, not sharp, not sudden, more like a final settling, a quiet punctuation mark at the end of a long, comforting sentence. The echoes respond one last time, so softly they feel more like a sensation than a sound. Then, stillness, a deep, embracing stillness that does not feel empty. It feels complete. Your breathing slows further, stretching the space between breaths into long, peaceful pauses. Each inhale is shallow and gentle. Each exhale releases you deeper. Your body begins to drift, not falling, floating, like sinking into a warm bed of snow that supports without cold, like resting on water that holds you effortlessly. Your thoughts have thinned to nothing more than distant murmurs, and even those fade. There is no past to revisit, no future to prepare for, only this quiet moment. The fire has become memory now, its warmth absorbed into the room, into you. Even when the glow finally dims, the comfort remains, because it was never only the fire. It was the permission to stop, to rest, to be. Your awareness softens at the edges. Time stretches, then loosens its grip entirely. Seconds and minutes no longer matter. Sleep approaches not as something you do, but something that happens naturally, gently. You feel yourself drifting deeper with each breath, as if the cabin itself is guiding you downward, layer by layer, into rest. There is no final moment to mark, no clear boundary between wakefulness and sleep, just a gradual, peaceful letting go. The embers dim further. The echoes fade into silence. The cabin holds you even as you slip beyond it. And in that quiet, protected space, you rest, you sleep, you are safe. And now, without needing to go anywhere at all, you can begin to feel how quiet this moment has become. The fire has settled into a gentle, steady glow, no sudden movements, no sharp sounds, only the soft, patient warmth that continues to exist, whether anyone is watching it or not. The cabin seems to understand this moment. It doesn't ask you to stay alert. It doesn't expect you to remember anything. It simply remains calm, steady, welcoming the way safe places always do. Somewhere behind you, the door rests closed, not locked, just peacefully still. The outside world can wait. The night has already taken care of it. Here, inside the firewood cabin, time loosens its grip. Minutes stretch softly. Thoughts slow down, becoming quieter with every breath. You may notice that your body feels heavier now. Not heavy in a troubling way, but comfortably grounded, as if the floor beneath you is gently holding you exactly where you belong. Your shoulders don't need to stay lifted anymore. They can sink. Your jaw doesn't need to hold tension. It can soften. Even your thoughts, the ones that usually arrive uninvited, begin to drift farther apart, like sparks rising from the fire. They appear for a moment, then fade harmlessly into the dark wooden beams above. The cabin knows these sparks well. It has watched them for years. It has never chased them. It has never tried to stop them. It simply lets them pass. The firewood stacked along the walls gives off a quiet scent. Dry pine, faint smoke, winter air softened by warmth. It's a smell that feels familiar, even if you've never been here before. Because calm places don't need introductions. They recognize you immediately. The echoes you noticed earlier have almost completely faded now. Not because they were chased away, but because they were listened to. And once echoes are heard fully, they don't need to repeat themselves. The cabin settles deeper into silence. Outside, snow continues to fall quietly, patiently, covering paths, worries, unfinished thoughts. Each snowflake lands with no intention other than rest. You can let your breathing follow that same rhythm, in and out. No need to slow it deliberately. No need to change it at all. The fire flickers once, then steadies again. Its light dances gently across the wooden walls, then grows softer, dimmer, calmer. Nothing here needs to stay bright. Nothing here needs to perform. Even the cabin seems to be resting now. If you find your thoughts wandering, that's okay. Let them wander like quiet footsteps in fresh snow, leaving no lasting marks. If your awareness drifts in and out, that's okay too. Sleep doesn't require permission. It arrives when it's ready. The cabin will remain, whether you're awake or asleep. The fire doesn't mind if you stop listening. The echoes don't mind if you forget them. They were never meant to be held onto, only felt briefly and then released. Somewhere in the distance, the wind brushes gently against the cabin's outer walls, not as a warning, not as a disturbance, more like a lullaby the mountain hums to itself. You may notice that the story no longer feels like something you're following. It feels more like something that's carrying you. That's exactly where you're meant to be now. There is nothing left to understand, nothing left to imagine, only rest. The fire's warmth spreads evenly now, like a blanket placed over both body and mind. Every place that once held tension begins to soften. Your forehead, your neck, your hands. Even the spaces between thoughts feel warm. The cabin breathes slowly, in and out, and you can match it or not. Either way, you are safe here. If sleep has already begun to take you, you don't need to resist it. You don't need to hold on to the sound of this voice. You can let it fade naturally, like embers dimming into a peaceful glow. And if you're still awake, listening quietly, that's okay too. Rest is already happening. The fire will continue to burn softly. The snow will continue to fall. The cabin will continue to stand calm, patient, and unchanging. Nothing is required from you now. No effort, no attention, no response, just rest And as the final warmth settles in, you may notice how gentle it feels to let go, not all at once, just a little more with each breath. Sleep doesn't rush, it arrives quietly, like snow, like silencer, like home. And when you drift fully into it, the whispering firewood cabin will still be here, holding the echoes, keeping the sparks, and watching over the night. Good rest, good night, and let yourself drift